Hey everyone, welcome back to Mid-Ohio for race 2. In the last race we were a victim of being overly cautious, retiring after I went off track and filled the radiators with grass. The engine temperature started going up, and so in an abundance of caution I pulled off the track. I learned after the race that it was completely unnecessary, since we were still a ways away from damaging the engine with overheating. So we're looking to get back on track here in race 2. Looking at the starting grid, we only got a few laps in race 1 to set a time, so we're down in 15th place. So we've got a little bit of work to do to hit our target of a top 10 finish. So let's remind ourselves quickly of the track. We're starting in the back straight again, so turn 4 becomes turn 1 for the first lap, and then we'll receive the checkered flag coming out of turn 3. It's a really great circuit through the rolling hills of central Ohio. I know a lot of people think that Ohio is mostly flat, but there's a lot of rolling hills, I guess, in part of it, and then down in like the southeast, I think, is very hilly, but around here there's some rolling hills, and Mid-Ohio definitely takes advantage of that. So we've got at least 5 cars to get through, so let's head up to the green flag and hope we get a good start. So we've formed up to start the race, and we're coming out of the keyhole on the warm-up lap. You can see the pace car there is pulling off, and we're about to get the green flag. And they've waved the green flag. I got a pretty bad start. You can see me shaking my head there. I think they just caught me asleep. One guy's dropped the wheel off on the grass. We're holding steady here in 15th place. We've got the inside for turn 4, but again we're on the outside for turn 5. If anybody's stuck around me on the inside, we're trying to tiptoe through this off-camber left-hander. You can see the car peeking out on the inside, but we've got the inside for turn 6. And now we shuffle into single file through this section known as Madness, or the S's. A little bit of looseness. Now this is where we made the mistake in race 1. We're safely through on the first lap. You can see we're gapping a bit to the car behind us. We're putting good pressure on the car in front of us, make up a decent amount of ground coming into the carousel. Really nasty bump right here at the apex. Bam! You can see it. Hit it every time. We got a good exit here. I think this is Sam Lockwood. Just don't quite have the mindset to take the risk of trying to make a pass into turn 1. You have to be very confident. You have to be right alongside, and they have to know you're there. Otherwise, it could get really ugly. But we got a good exit. Trying to take him in the keyhole, get him under the brakes. Yes! Oh, he's still on the outside. Gotta get down to the power. Still on the outside. You can see we didn't use all of the road on the exit because he's still there. So we've got the inside for turn 4. So we'll have the advantage under brakes, under braking. Hopefully we can just inch ahead so we can force our way to the inside for turn 5, and we do. So we've got the spot. I believe we're up to 14th now. Try to close this gap to the next car in front of us. We're gaining on him pretty rapidly here. Slow going into the carousel. Hopefully he's taking a very defensive line, so that's going to compromise his exit by a lot. We hit that bump at the apex again. We've got a good run on him. Hopefully this time we can take him into turn 1. We do. That's how you make a pass into turn 1. Apex a little bit early, but we're able to make it around. So 2 cars in 2 laps. He's putting a move on us, but he's got the inside. Squeezing just a little bit. There he goes. He shuffles back in behind us. He's trying to get the draft on us. But it's not quite working, as we have Sam Lockwood there behind him trying to put a move on him. So hopefully he'll defend that rather than attack us. I think he's too far behind us now to attack, so we're safe from that and we can move on to the next car. And you can see those two in front of us are fighting, so that's going to help us close the gap. They go almost side by side in turn 6. Again, that's going to help us a lot. Just have to drive a couple of clean laps. Try to gap ourselves from the cars behind us. You can see in the mirror. We've put a pretty good gap on them already. Doesn't look like we've closed up a whole lot to the cars in front of us, but should be able to get up to them. Especially if they keep fighting like that. Outside, watch out for the bump. Bam! Be able to string out a bit. A yellow flag would really help us close these gaps, but we don't want to have to count on that. So again, we're just trying to put down good laps, try to reel in this car in front of us. Looks like he's got a bit of a gap between him and the next car that was fighting with him, so it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for us to catch him. But it does look like we're a good bit closer than we were on the last lap, so hopefully we can keep this going. The cars behind us were long gone, so we've got no pressure from the back. We can just focus on putting good laps together and reeling these guys in. A little bit of squirreliness in turn 1. A little bit of oversteer. Just trying to balance the car on the brakes. The car generally is fairly neutral with a little bit of understeer at the start of the race, and then the understeer sort of comes in as the race goes on. So I'm trying to counteract that with the front sway bar that I'm able to play with, but also carrying the brakes past the turn-in point a little bit. Doing some trail braking will help. You can really feel the wheel gets really heavy if you turn in the car with some weight transferred to the front on the brakes. So that can help alleviate some of the understeer, but of course if you do too much, then the understeer will just come right back, or if you're on the brakes too hard, or if you're doing it wrong in other ways, then the car can snap into understeer, or to oversteer, and swap ends on you. And we're definitely gaining on, this is Mike Scanlon again in front of us. We seem to find him pretty much every race. We had that really good battle with him at Watkins Glen. At VIR in our last race, we battled with him a little bit, and we got out in front, and we pulled ahead by a lot, and then fatigue started setting in, and I started driving poorly, and he reeled me back in and was able to pass me by the end of the race. But this time it seems like we're definitely reeling him in. We're a lot closer than we were last lap. Yeah, we're definitely gaining on him. Hopefully we're able to keep this pace up for the rest of the race. bit of dirt. Somebody must have either locked up or went into the grass. When you see a puff of dirt like that over a blind crest, you always look to see if they're waving any flags. If they do, then you know to... You can tell by the ferocity and the desperation in the corner worker. So if he's sort of casually holding a standing flag, then you know that the car is well off to the track. Or if they're waving the flag frantically and gesturing at you on which side of the track to stay on, then you know that there's probably a car in a dangerous spot. Or if they're like in that position, if they're in the last lap, if they're not waving any flags at all, then you know that the track is clear and you can just continue on as normal. And so the corner workers really are vital to continuing a safe race, especially at a track like Mid-Ohio where you have a few blind areas. They really help you know what's coming up around the blind corners. Definitely getting on him. I think we're in his draft now. Are we going to be able to pass? No, we're too far behind to pass into turn 4. But we're definitely going to get on his gearbox in a couple of corners here. Bit of a short shift there. He misses his apex by a mile, but we're not able to capitalize on that. I must have overslowed the corner there. I should have gained on him a lot more than that. He's taking a fairly defensive line. See, he hits that bump too. I don't think there's any way around it really. You can see on my steering wheel the temperature alarm is going off again. I think it's really interesting. The water temperature was holding fine until I started getting behind the car. I think the dirty air is breaking up the airflow into the radiators. As you can see, I might put a move on him into the keyhole. Oh, it's a bit of a late move. As I gesture at him a little bit. He came over on me a little bit there, well after the braking zone. If I was a little bit more aggressive, that could have been ugly, but at this level, you gotta expect moves like that. No harm, no foul. I'm still a ways away behind him. Now we've got the draft. We know we're faster than him because we've been gaining on him drastically the last couple laps, and out braking. See him in the mirror, not quite. Yep. Now you can see him peeking behind me. And now we should just drive away from him. We've already put a good gap on him after 2 corners. Good gap in front of us to the next one, but hopefully we can put a few decent laps together and start reeling them in. It would be nice one of these days to start in a decent position rather than having to start in like 15th or 16th. Maybe I can work my way up deeper into the top 10. But for now we just have to work with what we've got. And you can see as soon as I pass Scanlon, the temperature alarm stops blinking. So I think it's the dirty air when I'm approaching a car disrupts the airflow into the radiators just enough to, as you can see I pull a tear off there, but it disrupts the airflow just enough to raise the engine temperature. And I think we have the alarm on the dash set a little bit too low. Of course we can configure all of those. So I might have to set it, I think it's around 205, the alarm starts coming on. When the water temperature gets to 205 degrees, those red blinking lights start showing up. And 205 is fine. The engine can handle that just fine. So I think if I increase it to like 215, or maybe, so I think around 220 is when we start getting into the danger zone of damaging the engine. So if I raise it to about 215, that would maybe make me take it a little bit more seriously. And yeah, we've just walked away from Mike Scanlon there. He's not even in the mirror. Just trying to reel this car in. Working the wheel. I think something that I was talking about a little bit earlier about how when you trail brake in, you can really feel the steering wheel load up with a lot of weight on it, and the heavier the wheel is, the more grip it has. So it's a really nice feeling to turn the car and you feel the steering wheel is really heavy. So I've been sort of trying to drive and chasing that feeling as I'm going into the corners. When I came back after the race and I was doing some sim racing, so you can see a car off on the left and the right, so there must have been an accident here. We picked up 2 free spots. Thank you very much. But I came back home and I was doing some sim racing, and I have a fairly decent wheel. I have the Thrustmaster T300, and I was trying to play around with the force feedback, but you're never going to get the same weight on the steering wheel as these cars have. Maybe with the higher end steering wheel, like the super high end steering wheels, you might be able to get that same weight, but I wasn't able to do it playing around with the force feedback on mine. Not to mention, if you look at when I hit the curb here, it really jerks the wheel around, and it can be pretty nasty. The wheel, you see the waving flag there, that's what I'm talking about. There's a car to the left on the track but off the racing line. You can see the corner worker there with a little bit more desperation. And they would have been a lot more animated if the car was actually sort of in a dangerous position. But thankfully there's another free spot, unless that was a car a lap down, I'm not really sure. At this point in the race, we don't really have any way to keep track of where we are in the race. You kind of just have to just keep on keeping on and do the best you can, and you look at the results when you're done. Unfortunately, it's not like a video game where you have the results updating on the heads-up display in real time. Even the lap counter on so the data that you can see on the TV here, the lap 13 that we're on, that includes the warm-up lap, and it also it counts when we exit the false grid to go onto the track. It also counts that as a lap. So you'll see it when we start the race. We've already done 2 laps. So the lap counter isn't entirely reliable, but I guess it sort of gives you an idea of how much time is left in the race. We know we're doing about 18 laps, so we're around halfway right now, maybe a little bit past it. And of course, I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but you can probably tell that the gear counter is not reliable either. See, we went from first to second there, and it says we're in 3rd gear. And now it says we're in 4th gear when we didn't even shift. So that's trying to use our speed and our engine RPM to calculate what gear it thinks we're in. There aren't any sensors in the gearbox for that. You see more dust kicking up here. Drivers ahead are really pushing. So the gear and the lap aren't entirely accurate. The speed is off of the GPS, so that should be pretty accurate, and the RPM is straight from the ECU, so that's accurate. The lap time is also GPS based, so that's pretty accurate. And it always, so the times that we're getting are from the GPS in the race car, and the times that the series gets, the official times, those are from the timing loop in the track, and there's a transponder in the front of the car, so it trips the timing loop every time I go by. So that's a lot more reliable, but they usually match up really well, the GPS and the timing loop. So the GPS is fairly reliable, and of course you have the little track map down in the bottom right, which is pretty reliable. You can see where we are on the track map matches up pretty well with where we are in the video. Not a whole lot going on ahead of us. We haven't been able to reel in that car. I think the one that we saw spin a few laps ago was the car in front of us, so hopefully we picked up a position on that. Just trying not to do what we did in the last race at BIR, and keep pushing, keep the pace up, not get lulled into a false sense of security, because there are cars behind us that are trying to catch us, so we have to be wary of that. we get a bit of rear lockup. Not sure what happened there. It's sort of reminiscent of the problems I was having at VIR. It might have just been a bad downshift, or not really sure, but we haven't been having those problems here. Fortunately, the braking has been fairly reliable. You might see me play with the brake bias a little bit, especially after that. We still haven't gotten it quite dialed in where I want. And we don't have any brake pressure sensors, so we're doing it entirely by feel, which is a pretty slow process, especially when we don't have any testing days to work it out. That turn 1 is really treacherous. It's a lot faster in person than it looks on the video. And if you get it wrong, it's tricky to get it consistent because it's a fast entry, and so if you mistime your turn in, then it can get really wrong really fast. And there's not a whole lot of runoff room. I think turn 1 is one of the places where I'm losing a lot of time, simply because I'm not willing to take huge risks there. If you remember a few laps ago, there was that incident in the keyhole where the two cars were spun out. One was outside the track, one was inside. The car that was on the inside of the track was one of the Cahill cars. They're consistently running at the front, so you have to think that he's trying to chase me down right now. I don't know if he'll be able to catch me by the end of the race. We're on lap 16 out of 18. Of course, like I said before, the lap counter is a little bit ahead of itself, so we're probably on lap 13 or 14. So the laps are dwindling down. You can't see him in the mirrors, but you know he's coming for me if he didn't have any damage. But that's one of the things that's in my mind that's keeping me from slowing down, because I know that he's going to catch me eventually, because he's definitely faster than me, but if I can, you know, the faster I go, the longer it's going to take him to catch me. So just trying to keep the pace up to keep that free spot. As I make another weird, like locking the brakes, you can see me, I'm reaching for the brake bias dial there to try and shift it to the front. But we're just trying to delay his catching me, so hopefully we can get to the end of the race without having him pay a visit up in our mirrors. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to catch the next car in front of us, but hopefully we can keep him from coming up behind us. still just trying to put in good laps, hit our marks. Of course, at this point, I have no idea where I am in the results, but just keep pushing to the end of the race. Still haven't gotten the white flag, so there's a couple more laps at least. Of course, it was really, really hot all weekend. I think the temperature was up, it was definitely at least in the high 80s. It might have been in the low 90s for a bit, which is why following other cars I was having those temperature alarms, because it's so hot. The ambient air temperature does make a big difference, not only in the sort of the consistent temperature of the engine, but also in the performance as well. Of course, we want, ideally, the race car likes a cool sunny day. So if like the sun is beating down on the track, that'll give the tires plenty of temperature to get nice and sticky. But cool air temperature will allow us to pack a lot of air into the cylinders, which means that we can get more fuel into them. And of course, it's hot and humid, which will, of course, hurt engine performance. But obviously, it's the same for everybody, so we all have the same air to work with. So it affects everyone in the same way, so there's no real performance advantage. And you can see in my mirrors, there's a car there. That's the Cahill car that spun that we were talking about a few laps ago. And you can see the white flag is there, so we're on the last lap. Are we going to be able to hold him off? He knows he's faster than us. We know he's faster than us. But how much so? Is he going to be able to sneak past us? I think if we can survive into turn 4, then we should be able to hold him off for the rest of the lap, but he's coming for us really fast. He gained a lot of ground just between turns 1 and 2, so it's going to be really tricky. He's in our draft. He's coming up like a banshee. He's already put a move on us. I'm trying to squeeze in a little bit without blocking, and there's just no way. Maybe I can get in his draft and get him into turn 4. He moves back onto the line. I just don't have the braking. And he takes the position. It's a little bit disappointing, but fair play to him. He's definitely the faster car. I think if we could have held him off into turn 4, then he's so fast. Even through the S's there. We may have been able to hold him off. He's not pulling away that quickly. But it would have been tricky. And there's no way we're going to be able to hold him off into turn 4 with the pace that his car has. Pretty drastic the way he was able to pull up 3 or 4 car lengths between turns 1 and 2. Coming out of turn 13 for the last time, and we take the checkered flag. So that we come in 10th place, so we've achieved our goal just barely of making the top 10. That was Tyler O'Connor in the Cahill Sports car in front of us. So we achieved our goal of finishing in 10th. Or in the top 10, which is great, especially coming back from starting 15th. Would have been great again, like at Montreal, if we could have had a mid-race yellow flag to bunch the field up a little bit. Maybe we could have attacked Jeffrey Bartz or Ryan Bierka, and maybe gotten a little bit deeper into the top 10. But that wasn't to be. And we've achieved our goal, so we're happy. And not sure where we're starting for race 3, but hopefully we should be a little bit farther ahead than we were for this race. So thanks to everyone for watching. We'll be back with race 3 soon, and then we're off to Pittsburgh International Race Complex for round 5. But thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon with race 3.